Hi everyone. Today we're doing a review of a Power over Ethernet IP camera by Anpviz. This is, I believe, the fourth camera I'm reviewing for them. We're going to unbox it, and features of this camera are: one, Power over Ethernet. It's got H.265 compression, 5 megapixels resolution. It's compatible with ONVIF standards. It's IP66 weather protected. They say easy plug and play with your LaView, Height Vision, Anpviz, and I don't know how you say it, DAWA network video recorders. There are iOS and Android apps compatible with it, and it works both in light and dark via its infrared light. So let's go ahead and unbox it. All right, so here we go. Let's open it up. Let's see what's inside. So here we have the instructions. It's fairly detailed in both the hardware and software installation. Here we have a little mini disc contains their proprietary software. Product care card, after sales service, gives their email address, website, international phone number. And if you need to return it, instructions on how to do that. All right, now also, in addition to this camera, I requested a power supply just to see how that worked. For those who don't have a power over Ethernet source, you can use the power supply to still use the camera. So we'll try that out later too. So let's take this out, and here you see the typical package of the weather protector for outdoor installation. So it protects the wire connection, the Ethernet cable wire connection outside. Okay, I know the Anpviz one always seems to work well. I prefer theirs to the Amcrest. It just seems to, I don't have to fight it as much to make the connection. Let's see what we got here. We have 3 screw anchors, 3 screws, and a star wrench. The star wrench is a nice touch, makes it a little more secure. People would need a star wrench to get in there and dismantle it, which makes it a little more secure. So here's the camera. I like that they have the cutout here. I know on an earlier model it didn't have that, so if you wanted to flush mount this to a surface, the wire got in the way and I had to actually cut a groove in here to allow that. But that was on an earlier model, and all of Anpviz's subsequent models they've sent me for review have had the groove. So I'm glad to see it's there, because I more often than not do flush mount. The lens cover is protected by a layer of plastic, protect it during shipping. I'm going to leave it on for now so I don't scratch it while I'm checking it out and installing it. So this thing is tight to start with, and let's loosen it up and open it up. So let's see, here we go with a screwdriver. No, screwdriver won't work because it's a star. So we'll get our star wrench out. I guess the proper word is Torx. So let's loosen the screw. All right. As how you mount it depends on what you see under here. So let's loosen this up and take a look inside. Okay, that one's loose. Second one, there are 3 mounting screws all together. Now I'm going to pause this for a second so you don't have to wait for me to get those things unscrewed. All right, so I've got the screws loosened, so let's lift it off. And that's the cover. And I guess the infrared lights are mounted in the dome or around the dome, because it is wired there. You can see how the wires are attached inside there, and you'd have to unscrew those to in fact, I don't even know if you could get both unscrewed. Oh, you can unplug it. There's sort of like a little plug in one of them, and you could unscrew the other. I'm not going to do that. So let's see how we're going to connect here. On the camera itself. So you really, they should supply, oh, here it is. This is what I was looking for. A template for knowing where to drill your holes when you're mounting it. So you got these 3 cutouts here that match where the screws go. And the template is adhesive back, so you just tape it on the surface you're going to mount the camera on, and then you can drill your holes for either the screws or the screw anchors, depending on what surface you're going through. And there's the hole in the middle, whoops, which is for the main wire. And the main wire over here contains the Ethernet connection and the power connection if you're using that. Again, I really like the Anpviz power connectors because they come with a cap which self-seals, and that's it. If you're not using an external power connector because you're powering over Ethernet, the Amcrest cameras don't have that cap. So then you've got to figure out what you're going to do with the darn exposed connector. And so I've figured out solutions for that, but this is far simpler. Just put the cap on and you're done. Okay, so normally it looks like, well, you would have to take this camera off and disconnect this in order to screw the base in. So that's a little awkward here. If it would be easier if you could more easily remove the base of the camera from the cover than the way they've got it here. This is a little awkward. These wires that are connecting to the outside of the cap are they're very thin wires. And I'm afraid if you just let this dome, which is kind of heavy, hang from those wires, it might pull them apart or damage them. And so I don't think that's a good idea. So I think you probably would have to unplug it. Yeah, so there's a little plug there. I'd have to get in there with a hemostat. That's hard to work with. So I would consider that a negative for the camera from the point of view of installation. Of course, once the camera's installed, it's irrelevant. But, you know, you do need to install it. So I'm just pointing out it would be better if they had a more convenient way of separating these wires from the camera, the dome from its base. So anyway, we'll pause it for a second and then we'll test out the camera. So here you can see a sample of my Blue Iris dashboard with the camera in question in the upper left-hand corner of the screen. Now we'll zoom in on that camera. And you can see a bright, clear image. This is a workshop room I have upstairs in an addition. And then we'll take a look at it with the lights turned out. This is taken at night under fluorescent light at the moment. And then we'll show you, this is the night image. And you can see that it's a very bright, clear image in the night. And I would say this, just going by memory, I would say this is brighter and clearer than the other cameras in night mode, but again, I'm going on memory. So, as part of the review, I requested the power adapter to try out some alternate locations that did not have access to power over Ethernet sources. So, this is the power adapter, and you can see that it's a 6-watt model. It will run on US or 240 volt AC, and it puts out 12 volts at 5 amps. And so you have a power cord here that plugs in to the brick. You have a 3-prong plug. And then this end will plug into the mating power socket on the camera. It also came with this octopus. It's got one end which plugs into the power adapter, and then it branches out into 8 plugs. Now, I don't know what this is for. You certainly don't need it for one camera. So I'm going to contact Abe over at Anpviz and ask him why they included that, what its function is. If someone knows, post it in the comment. So to summarize this review of the IPC D4250W-S 2.8mm POE indoor-outdoor turret camera, I would say that as far as its image quality goes, it is comparable to the other 5 megapixel Anpviz cameras I've reviewed previously. I was pleased to see the groove in the mounting plate, which had been absent on a previous model. That was present. As far as the night vision goes, I think you can see that I get the impression that the camera, the infrared camera or infrared light on the camera is better, brighter, which gives a clearer night image than the other models. Now, this may just be the testing conditions under which I tested it and all, but you saw the image and you could see how clear it was. I mean, it lit up that entire room, and that's a big room. So I would say, yeah, this is a good value. It doesn't cost that much. It gives a clear image. One thing I did not like about it was, although you can adjust the resolution downward, what happens is it just crops the image. It doesn't take, like to get a 1080p image out of the 5 megapixel image, it just cuts out an area of the field of view and displays that in a 1080p format. I would have rather seen the entire field of view remain intact with the lower resolution of 1080p, but it doesn't work that way. So if you want the full field of view at 1080p or a lower resolution than 5 megapixels, I don't recommend you get this camera because you're going to lose some field of view. I mean, it doesn't make sense to get the extra megapixels and then cut a huge portion of them out just to get that shape of an image. It's counterproductive. You want to get more detail in your security camera. You don't want to be cutting out detail either by decreased resolution or cutting out part of your field of view. But overall, it's a good camera. It's a good buy, and I recommend it. Thanks for watching.